What's been your biggest surprise since being a franchisor in the past year plus?
Oh my gosh, okay, first of all, I am so excited to be a newbie in the franchise space. And I call it the franchise universe because it felt so big when we first entered it. And then I realized that it's actually a really small supportive network of people, such as yourself, Frank. I mean, I keep kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, is everybody in the franchise industry really this supportive and really this kind? And I mean, collaborative. We have met the most incredible people, and of various brands, various degrees of being in being born into the franchise industry, working in it for 30 years, and so just the franchise universe has been
Hmm.
so supportive. And so that's been wonderful. Again, kind of illuminating that we're on the right path. And then as far as becoming a Sticky Fingers cooking franchisor, I mean, it's just I get goosebumps every time I'm talking to people and seeing their excitement and seeing they're realizing that they can become a franchise owner, and then seeing people's lives change. And then on top of it, we get every week we do a whole report with the company where we get quotes from kids from across the country, and photos of them in class, and we just get all the feedback of the lives that we're changing in schools. And then the kids go home to their families and say, we want to make kale pesto, and it freaks the parents out. But then then they start cooking together, and then they sit around the dinner table. So it's all this wonderful network of win-wins. I mean, franchising is such a symbiotic relationship. It's just this like infinite loop, and
Yeah.
it just gives me so much joy and energy.
Have you given any thought to the kind of impact that you're really having on kids and families? Because you're teaching kids an incredible skill, and on top of that, you're bringing families together through food. And how amazing is that? I don't know if that's really, has that ever even dawned on you on the rippling effect that you're having on people?
It didn't at first. It really didn't at first. It was like this beautiful unintended byproduct of
Hmm.
teaching kids how to cook. 13 years ago, it was really like, oh, let's teach kids how to cook. And I didn't realize how impactful it was, and that the children do go home to their family and they do talk about what they learned. And we're pushing the envelope of what kids' food is.
Sure.
There's not chicken fingers and macaroni and cheese. The kids are making are making these pretty elaborate meals
Hmm.
from scratch. And so they come home and they talk about it, and they might be trying new fruits or vegetables or grains that they've never had before. So yes, we get feedback from these families, and I did not realize that we have this very gentle effect on families where they're cooking more at home. They're sitting around the dinner table. And if we can do that more than once a year at Thanksgiving, I call that a win.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a 26-year-old daughter and a 23-year-old son. They took a cooking class together when they were like, I don't know, maybe like 8 and 11 years old together. And to this day, my wife still cooks a couple of meals from the cooking class. The kids still request when we're together as a family. And we've referred to, oh yeah, remember you guys learned that in the cooking class. So this is something that goes on for so long. I mean, it's just part of our family. It's a dish, two different dishes that my wife makes to this day because my kids made it, way back when.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's so amazing. Thank you for sharing that with me. We have stories like that too. I mean, where people are like, "Oh, you're in our rotation, our dinner rotation." Yeah, I have a wonderful neighbor down the street, and both of her kids took Sticky Fingers cooking classes when they're in elementary school. They both graduated, they're in college now. And, she's just like, oh yeah, your falafels are on the weekly rotation. We had just about 6 months ago, or no, it was a year. Oh my gosh, it was a year ago, almost exactly a year ago. I had a parent reach out to us and say, my kid loved Sticky Fingers cooking classes, took it all the way from the time he was in kindergarten up to third grade. He had Sticky Fingers cooking birthday parties. He's going off to college, and I'm creating a cookbook. Will you send me all of these favorite recipes, because they're all weathered and torn, and
Right.
will you send me a fresh copy? And she made a cookbook for him to and sent him off to college with it. And to me,
Wow.
I mean, that's it's just like what your family. What are the two dishes that you make?
There is a chicken dish called poppy seed chicken that my wife makes, and there's a chicken pot pie recipe that to this day my wife still makes.
Wonderful. I love that. I love that.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.